The one tool to transform your relationships, ladies and gentlemen. Life is a series of connections. Our relationships, whether with family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers, shape who we are and determine the quality of our experiences. Yet, how often do we pause to reflect on how we relate to others? Today, I want to share with you the one tool, a simple yet powerful principle that has the potential to transform your relationships and, by extension, your life. This tool isn't something you need to buy, learn from a book, or find in some distant corner of the world. It's within you, waiting to be activated. Are you ready to discover it? Empathy is the ability to genuinely understand and share the feelings of another person. It is a gift that allows us to step into someone else's world, see through their eyes, and feel with their heart. But empathy is not just about listening, it's about truly hearing. It's not just about seeing, it's about deeply feeling. Empathy goes beyond surface-level acknowledgement and taps into the essence of human connection. When you master this skill, you unlock the doorway to meaningful and lasting relationships that can transform your life and the lives of those around you. Empathy requires us to be fully present. It means setting aside distractions and giving our undivided attention to someone else. In today's fast-paced world, where notifications, emails, and tasks compete for our focus, being present is no small feat. Yet, it is one of the most profound gifts we can offer another person. When you genuinely focus on someone, you're telling them without words that they matter. Your presence becomes a silent affirmation of their value, and in that moment, you create a space for true connection. To practice empathy, we must go beyond merely hearing the words spoken to us. We must tune in to the emotions behind those words. People often communicate their deepest feelings not through what they say, but through their tone, expressions, and body language. A simple sentence like "I'm fine" can mean 100 different things depending on how it's said. Empathy compels us to listen with our hearts as well as our ears, picking up on those subtleties that reveal what someone is truly feeling. Empathy also asks us to suspend judgment. It's easy to form opinions or jump to conclusions based on our own perspectives, but true empathy requires setting aside our biases. It's about seeing the world through the other person's eyes, even if their perspective is vastly different from our own. This doesn't mean we have to agree with them or adopt their beliefs. It simply means we're willing to understand their viewpoint. When someone feels that their experiences and emotions are understood, a powerful bond is formed. This bond is the foundation of trust, and trust is the bedrock of all meaningful relationships. One of the most transformative aspects of empathy is its ability to dissolve barriers. We often put up walls to protect ourselves, and those walls can keep others at a distance. Empathy acts as a bridge, allowing us to cross into another's experience and bring down those walls brick by brick. When someone senses that you truly understand them, they feel safe enough to let you in. They may share their fears, joys, and vulnerabilities, knowing that they won't be judged or dismissed. But empathy isn't always easy. It takes courage to step into someone else's pain or joy, especially when their experiences differ greatly from our own. It requires patience and a willingness to sit with discomfort. There may be times when you struggle to relate or feel overwhelmed by what someone is going through. In those moments, it's important to remember that empathy isn't about having all the answers or solving someone's problems. It's about being there, fully present, and showing that you care. The beauty of empathy is that it's a skill that can be cultivated. Like any skill, it improves with practice. Start by being intentional in your interactions. When you're talking to someone, focus entirely on them. Resist the urge to check your phone, plan your response, or let your mind wander. Ask open-ended questions that invite them to share more about their feelings and experiences. For example, instead of asking, "Are you okay?" try asking, "How are you feeling about what happened?" This approach signals that you're genuinely interested in their perspective. Another powerful way to practice empathy is by reflecting back what you hear. Paraphrasing what someone has shared shows that you're actively engaged and helps clarify any misunderstandings. For instance, if someone says, "I've been so stressed at work," you might respond, "It sounds like you've had a lot on your plate lately." This not only reassures them that you're listening, but also encourages them to open up further. Empathy isn't just about the tough moments, it's also about celebrating joys. When someone shares a success or happy experience, take the time to share in their excitement, respond with enthusiasm, ask questions, and show that their happiness matters to you. Empathy for joy strengthens bonds just as much as empathy for pain. The impact of empathy extends far beyond the individual moments of connection. It creates a ripple effect that can transform entire communities. When you practice empathy, you inspire others to do the same. Your relationships become richer, your interactions more meaningful, and your environment more harmonious. Empathy has the power to heal broken relationships, resolve conflicts, and create a sense of unity in a divided world. Ultimately, empathy is about recognizing our shared humanity. No matter our differences in background, culture, or beliefs, we all experience emotions like joy, sadness, fear, and love. When we tap into empathy, we acknowledge that common thread and honor the unique experiences that make us who we are. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. So take a moment today to practice empathy. Listen a little more closely, see a little more deeply, feel a little more fully. The connections you create will not only enrich the lives of others, but will also bring meaning and fulfillment to your own life. Empathy is the tool that transforms relationships, and when you embrace it, you hold the key to a more connected and compassionate world. Empathy is a cornerstone of human connection, a vital force that builds trust and fosters understanding. It is the invisible thread that ties relationships together, weaving a sense of security and belonging. When people feel truly understood, they open up in ways that are genuine and unguarded. They feel valued, respected, and safe, knowing that their thoughts and emotions are not only heard, but also deeply acknowledged. This sense of understanding is what transforms superficial interactions into meaningful relationships. Empathy allows us to bridge gaps in communication, dissolve misunderstandings, and create an environment where trust can thrive. Trust is not something that happens by chance. It is earned, nurtured, and strengthened through consistent actions and attitudes. Empathy plays a pivotal role in this process. When you approach someone with empathy, you're sending a powerful message: I care about you. I value your experiences. I am here to understand, not to judge. This simple act of tuning into another person's emotions can break down barriers and foster a sense of mutual respect. In a world where people often feel overlooked or misunderstood, empathy becomes a beacon of hope and connection. Imagine a scenario where a colleague at work is struggling with a project deadline. They seem frustrated and withdrawn. Without empathy, it's easy to dismiss their behavior as unprofessional or uncooperative. However, with empathy, you might pause to ask, how are you feeling about everything on your plate right now? This question not only shows concern, but also opens the door for honest dialogue. It demonstrates that you're not just focused on the task at hand, but also on their well-being. In such moments, empathy transforms a potential conflict into an opportunity for collaboration and trust building. Empathy is equally crucial in resolving conflicts. Disagreements are inevitable in any relationship, whether personal or professional. What matters is how those conflicts are handled. When empathy is present, the focus shifts from winning an argument to understanding the other person's perspective. This approach creates a safe space where both parties can express their feelings without fear of judgment or retaliation. Empathy helps to de-escalate tensions, paving the way for compromise and mutual resolution. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about recognizing the emotions and needs of everyone involved. Consider a family dinner where a disagreement arises about a sensitive topic. Without empathy, the conversation might escalate into a heated argument, leaving everyone feeling hurt or defensive. But with empathy, the dynamic changes. One person might say, I can see this topic is really important to you. Can you help me understand why you feel that way? This response validates the other person's emotions and invites deeper understanding. It shifts the focus from conflict to connection, reinforcing the bonds of trust within the family. Empathy's power extends beyond personal relationships and into the realm of professional interactions. Whether negotiating a business deal, managing a team, or building a partnership, empathy is a critical skill. It allows you to step into the other person's shoes, understanding their goals, concerns, and motivations. This understanding fosters collaboration and alignment, making it easier to find solutions that work for everyone. Empathy turns adversaries into allies and transactional interactions into meaningful partnerships. For example, imagine you're negotiating a contract with a client who seems hesitant about a particular clause. Instead of dismissing their concerns or insisting on your terms, you might say, I can sense that this clause is giving you pause. Can you share your thoughts on what's troubling you? This empathetic approach shows that you value their perspective and are willing to find common ground. It not only increases the likelihood of reaching an agreement, but also strengthens the relationship for future collaborations. Empathy is not limited to moments of conflict or negotiation. It's also a powerful tool for everyday interactions. Simple acts of empathy, such as asking a friend how they're feeling, listening attentively to a colleague, or expressing gratitude to a loved one, can have a profound impact. These small gestures create an atmosphere of trust and respect, reminding people that they are valued and understood. Over time, these moments accumulate, building a foundation of trust that can withstand challenges and uncertainties. Empathy also has a transformative effect on the individual practicing it. When you approach others with empathy, you develop a deeper understanding of human nature and the diverse experiences that shape people's lives. This perspective broadens your horizons, making you more open-minded and compassionate. It strengthens your own emotional intelligence, enabling you to navigate relationships with greater ease and authenticity. In giving empathy, you also receive it, as people naturally respond to your understanding with trust and openness. In a world that often feels divided, empathy serves as a unifying force. It reminds us of our shared humanity, encouraging us to see beyond our differences and focus on what connects us. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or broader social interactions, empathy creates a ripple effect. When you show empathy to one person, they are likely to pass it on, creating a chain of understanding and kindness that can transform communities. Ultimately, empathy is about recognizing and honoring the emotions of others. It's about being present, listening deeply, and responding with care. When people feel understood, they open up. They share their stories, their fears, and their dreams. They feel safe to be themselves, knowing they are valued and respected. In these moments of connection, trust flourishes and relationships deepen. Empathy is not just a tool for better relationships, it's a way of living that enriches every aspect of our lives. By practicing empathy, we create a world where understanding flows both ways and where trust and connection become the foundation of every interaction. Cultivating empathy is about making a conscious effort to connect with others on a deeper level. It begins with being present, giving someone your full attention without distractions. In a world dominated by constant notifications, multitasking, and an endless stream of digital interactions, presence has become a rare and precious gift. Putting down your phone, turning off distractions, and focusing entirely on the person in front of you sends a powerful message: you matter, and I'm here for you. This simple act of being present allows for genuine connection to flourish. When you look someone in the eye, you create a sense of trust and openness that invites them to share their thoughts and feelings freely. Presence shows that you value the person in the moment, setting the stage for meaningful interaction. Listening is another essential component of cultivating empathy, but it's not just about hearing words. Often, we listen to respond rather than to understand. We prepare our next statement or counter-argument while the other person is still speaking, missing the essence of what they're trying to convey. True empathy requires us to resist this urge. Instead, we must listen with the intent to understand, letting the other person complete their thoughts without interruption. This type of listening goes beyond the surface, allowing us to pick up on subtle cues in tone, body language, and context. It's about absorbing not just what is being said, but also the emotions behind the words. When someone feels truly heard, they feel valued and respected, and that forms the foundation for empathy. Asking questions is another powerful way to cultivate empathy. It shows that you are genuinely interested in the other person's experiences and feelings. Rather than assuming you understand what they're going through, asking questions invites them to share their perspective. A question like, "How did that make you feel?" can open the door to a deeper conversation, giving the other person the space to express themselves fully. These questions don't have to be complex or profound. They simply need to convey curiosity and a willingness to understand. By showing that you care enough to ask, you create an opportunity for connection and understanding to grow. Reflecting back what you've heard is an often overlooked aspect of empathy, but it is incredibly impactful. Paraphrasing someone's words not only shows that you're engaged, but also ensures clarity in the conversation. For example, if someone shares, "I've been feeling really overwhelmed with work lately," you might respond with, "It sounds like you're juggling a lot right now and it's been stressful." This simple act of reflection does two things. It reassures the person that you're truly listening, and it gives them a chance to correct any misunderstandings. Reflecting back also encourages the person to elaborate further, deepening the conversation and strengthening the bond between you. Being present, listening, asking questions, and reflecting back are not isolated actions. They work together to create a culture of empathy in your relationships. Each step builds on the other, forming a foundation of trust and understanding. For instance, when you are fully present, you're more likely to pick up on the nuances of what someone is sharing. This attentiveness makes it easier to ask meaningful questions and reflect back accurately. Similarly, when you listen without interrupting, you give the other person the space to share openly, making it more natural to follow up with thoughtful questions and reflections. It's important to acknowledge that cultivating empathy takes practice and patience. It's not always easy to set aside your own thoughts and emotions to focus entirely on someone else. There may be moments when you feel distracted, preoccupied, or even resistant to empathizing with someone whose perspective differs greatly from your own. In these moments, remind yourself of the value of empathy, not just for the other person, but for the relationship as a whole. Empathy strengthens bonds, resolves conflicts, and fosters a sense of connection that benefits both parties. Empathy also requires a willingness to embrace vulnerability. To truly connect with someone, you must be open to experiencing their emotions, even when those emotions are difficult or uncomfortable. This might mean sharing in someone's sadness, frustration, or fear, even if you don't have all the answers. Remember, empathy isn't about fixing someone's problems, it's about being there with them, offering support and understanding. Sometimes the most empathetic thing you can do is simply sit with someone in their pain, letting them know they're not alone. In practice, empathy can be transformative in all areas of life. In personal relationships, it deepens intimacy and trust, creating a safe space for honest communication. In professional settings, it fosters collaboration and teamwork, helping to resolve misunderstandings and align goals. Even in casual interactions, empathy has the power to brighten someone's day and leave a lasting impression. The effort you put into cultivating empathy is never wasted, as it not only enriches your relationships, but also enhances your own emotional intelligence and self-awareness. As you practice empathy, you'll likely find that it becomes easier and more natural over time. You'll start to notice the positive impact it has on your interactions and the way people respond to you. Empathy is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with use. The more you make an effort to be present, listen, ask questions, and reflect back, the more intuitive these behaviors will become. Ultimately, cultivating empathy is about making a choice to prioritize understanding over judgment, connection over indifference, and compassion over criticism. It's about recognizing that every person you interact with has their own struggles, joys, and experiences, and choosing to honor those experiences with your attention and care. By practicing empathy, you not only transform your relationships, but also contribute to a more compassionate and connected world. In a society where understanding often feels in short supply, your efforts to cultivate empathy can make all the difference. Empathy has an incredible ripple effect, creating a wave of positive change that extends far beyond the immediate moment. When you practice empathy, you begin to notice profound shifts in your relationships, your interactions, and even the way others perceive you. Empathy doesn't just transform your connection with one person, it influences the dynamics of every relationship you have. It builds bridges where there were once walls, fosters understanding where there was once conflict, and creates an atmosphere of trust and openness that draws people toward you. This ripple effect starts small but grows exponentially, touching lives in ways you may never fully realize. One of the first things you'll notice when you cultivate empathy is that your relationships deepen. Empathy allows you to connect with others on an emotional level, creating a sense of intimacy and understanding that goes beyond surface interactions. When someone feels truly heard and understood, they open up in ways that are genuine and heartfelt. They trust you with their thoughts, their feelings, and their vulnerabilities. This trust forms the foundation of strong, enduring relationships, whether with a partner, a friend, a colleague, or a family member. Empathy becomes the glue that holds these connections together, strengthening them through every shared moment of understanding. Another significant change you'll see is a decrease in misunderstandings. Miscommunication is one of the most common sources of conflict in relationships, often stemming from assumptions, judgments, or a lack of attention. Empathy addresses these issues by encouraging you to listen deeply and understand the other person's perspective. Instead of jumping to conclusions or reacting defensively, you approach the conversation with curiosity and openness. This shift in attitude can diffuse tension, clarify intentions, and pave the way for constructive dialogue. Over time, the practice of empathy reduces the frequency and intensity of misunderstandings, creating smoother, more harmonious interactions. As you practice empathy, you may also notice that people are naturally drawn to you. This attraction isn't based on material possessions, status, or accomplishments. It's rooted in who you are and how you make others feel. When you show genuine care and understanding, people feel valued and respected in your presence. They are drawn to the warmth, kindness, and authenticity that empathy cultivates. Empathy creates an invisible yet powerful magnetism, drawing people into your orbit not because of what you offer externally, but because of the emotional connection you provide. This connection becomes a source of mutual growth and fulfillment, enriching both your life and theirs. Empathy fosters connection, and connection is the true currency of life. While material wealth and achievements may bring temporary satisfaction, it is our relationships that provide lasting meaning and joy. The moments we spend connecting with others, sharing laughter, offering support, or simply being present are the moments that give life its richness. Empathy enhances these moments by deepening the quality of our connections. It reminds us that we are not alone, that we are seen and understood, and that we matter. These feelings of connection and belonging are essential to our well-being, fueling our emotional and mental health in profound ways. The ripple effect of empathy extends beyond your immediate circle of relationships. When you practice empathy, you inspire others to do the same. Your actions set an example, showing those around you the value of understanding and compassion. This inspiration can spread from person to person, creating a chain reaction of kindness and connection. A single act of empathy can spark countless others, reaching people you may never meet and touching lives in ways you may never know. In this way, empathy has the power to transform not just individual relationships, but entire communities. Empathy also has a way of breaking down barriers. It bridges gaps in understanding, transcending differences in culture, background, and belief. When you approach someone with empathy, you acknowledge their humanity and recognize the common threads that bind us all. This recognition fosters unity and reduces division, creating a sense of shared purpose and mutual respect. In a world that often feels divided, empathy serves as a powerful antidote, reminding us of our shared humanity and our capacity for connection. Another remarkable aspect of empathy is how it changes you as a person. As you practice empathy, you become more attuned to the emotions and experiences of others. This heightened awareness enhances your emotional intelligence, helping you navigate relationships with greater ease and authenticity. Empathy also encourages self-reflection, prompting you to examine your own biases, assumptions, and behaviors. This self-awareness fosters personal growth, making you a more understanding, compassionate, and resilient individual. The benefits of empathy are not limited to those you connect with. They extend to your own emotional and mental well-being. The ripple effect of empathy is not always immediately visible, but it is always present. Every time you listen without judgment, offer a kind word, or show genuine understanding, you create a moment of connection that ripples outward. These moments accumulate, shaping the fabric of your relationships and leaving a lasting impact on the people around you. They create a legacy of kindness and compassion, reminding others of the importance of understanding and care. Empathy is not just a skill or a practice, it is a way of being. It is a choice to prioritize connection over isolation, understanding over judgment, and compassion over indifference. When you choose empathy, you choose to create a world where relationships are deeper, misunderstandings are fewer, and people feel valued for who they are. This choice has the power to transform your life and the lives of those around you, creating a ripple effect that reaches far and wide. In a world that often seems disconnected, empathy is the bridge that brings us together, reminding us that we are all part of something greater than ourselves. Practicing empathy, while transformative, is not without its challenges. It requires effort, patience, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. There will be moments when you feel misunderstood, when your own feelings or needs seem overlooked, or when the perspective of the other person feels entirely foreign. These challenges can test your resolve and make empathy seem like an uphill battle. Yet, it is precisely in these moments that empathy holds the most potential for growth and connection. True empathy is not about agreeing with everything or abandoning your own perspective. It's about being willing to see the world through someone else's eyes, even if only briefly. This willingness to understand, even when it's difficult, is what makes empathy so powerful. One of the first challenges you may encounter is feeling misunderstood yourself. It can be hard to offer empathy when you believe that your own experiences and emotions are being ignored or dismissed. In such situations, it's important to remember that empathy is not a one-way street. While you may be focusing on understanding someone else, it's also valid to express your own feelings and needs. Empathy doesn't mean suppressing your perspective, it means balancing it with an openness to theirs. By modeling empathetic behavior, you can often encourage others to reciprocate, creating a dialogue that benefits both parties. Another common challenge is encountering perspectives that feel completely alien to your own. Perhaps the other person's values, beliefs, or experiences differ so greatly from yours that it's difficult to relate. In these moments, empathy requires humility and curiosity. It's not about changing your mind or compromising your principles. It's about recognizing that everyone's reality is shaped by their unique journey. Instead of focusing on the differences, try to find common ground. Ask questions that help you understand the emotions and motivations behind their perspective. Even if you don't agree, you can still acknowledge their feelings and validate their experiences. This act of understanding, even without agreement, can create a powerful connection. Empathy also demands a certain level of emotional vulnerability, which can be uncomfortable. To truly connect with someone else's emotions, you must be willing to engage with your own. This might mean revisiting painful experiences or confronting biases and assumptions you didn't realize you held. It's natural to feel resistance in these moments, but leaning into the discomfort is where growth happens. By embracing vulnerability, you not only deepen your capacity for empathy, but also strengthen your own emotional resilience. You learn that it's okay to sit with difficult emotions, both yours and others, without rushing to fix or avoid them. Time and energy can also be significant barriers to practicing empathy. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to feel too busy or too drained to fully engage with others. Empathy takes effort. It requires slowing down, listening actively, and being present in the moment. When you're overwhelmed, these steps can feel like an additional burden. However, it's worth remembering that empathy doesn't have to be an all-consuming process. Small, intentional acts of empathy, like offering a kind word, pausing to ask how someone is feeling, or simply listening without interrupting, can make a big difference. Even in brief moments, the impact of genuine understanding is profound. Another challenge lies in situations where the other person's emotions are intense or negative. Dealing with anger, sadness, or frustration can be draining, especially if you're already feeling emotionally taxed. In these instances, empathy requires boundaries. Being empathetic doesn't mean absorbing someone else's emotions or taking responsibility for their feelings. It means being present and supportive without losing your own sense of balance. Setting healthy boundaries allows you to offer empathy without compromising your well-being. For example, if someone is venting their frustration, you might say, "I can see how upset you are and I want to understand. Can we talk about this in a way that works for both of us?" There are also times when empathy might seem ineffective, when your efforts to understand and connect don't seem to make a difference. This can be discouraging, but it's important to remember that empathy is not always about immediate results. Sometimes the act of showing understanding plants a seed that takes time to grow. Even if the other person doesn't respond in the way you hoped, your empathy still matters. It demonstrates care, fosters trust, and sets the tone for future interactions. Over time, these small acts of empathy can accumulate, creating a lasting impact. Despite these challenges, the rewards of practicing empathy far outweigh the difficulties. Empathy deepens relationships, reduces conflict, and creates a sense of connection that is essential to our well-being. It helps us navigate the complexities of human interaction with grace and understanding, making our lives richer and more meaningful. The effort it takes to practice empathy is an investment in both your own growth and the health of your relationships. Ultimately, empathy is not about perfection. You don't have to get it right every time or fully understand every nuance of someone else's experience. What matters is the intention, the willingness to try, to listen, and to care. By embracing this mindset, you can overcome the challenges of practicing empathy and unlock its transformative power. Even in the face of misunderstandings, differences, and discomfort, empathy has the ability to bridge divides, heal wounds, and create a ripple effect of compassion and connection that touches countless lives. In practicing empathy, you not only make the world better for others, but also for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing you take away from this message today, let it be this: relationships are not built on what you get, but on what you give. And the greatest gift you can give is the gift of understanding. Empathy is the tool that can transform your relationships, heal broken bonds, and create new ones that last a lifetime. Start using this tool today and watch as the world around you begins to change one relationship at a time. Thank you. Thank you.